Guys, welcome back to another Destiny 2 video, and today we are going to be discussing something that is a very hot topic in the Destiny community right now. So hot that people are talking about actually leaving Destiny 2 because of this. So, about a week ago, last Tuesday to be exact, Bungie released the Trials of Osiris announcement. Not Trials of the Nine, I almost got it mixed up, but it is, in fact, Trials of Osiris. It is coming back, and when they released that, they released a Bungie Director's Cut, a Dev Director's Cut, which they have not done in a very, very long time. Now, you might be wondering, what was in this Director's Cut that made things hit the ceiling? In the most PG way I can say it. And to that, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have to dig deep, and you guys are going to have to remember all the way back to vanilla Destiny 1. Yes, when Destiny first came out, they are going to take the infusion system out of Destiny 2, at least in some form, and it's going to be somewhat like D1 was, where weapons are going to have a lifetime, a longevity to where they are useful, and to when they are not useful anymore, right? You can't infuse them past a certain date. Up to this point, Bungie's been fairly, how do I say it? They've been fairly vague on their description of what they mean by all of this, and it's made a lot of people more mad than I think is probably worth being, just because Bungie has not implemented it, and I'm sure that in further TWABs they will kind of expand on what they mean by this infusion system shakeup. Anyways, the number that they gave us for the gun lifespan is anywhere from 9 to 15 months, and I hope in the future we actually get a definite date, because you don't want to be sitting there with a random deadline on your gun, right? But believe it or not, I'm actually going to sit here in front of YouTube and advocate that this change is necessary. Now, before you go in on me, guys, be sure to keep your socks on for just a couple more minutes so I can explain myself, and maybe I can bring you guys to a mutual understanding. Firstly, I would like to start this off by saying, because your gun has a longevity to it does not mean that it is going to be useless. Entirely useless everywhere, right? In normal Crucible, like normal Crucible playlist and comps, it's still going to be perfectly viable, at least from what Bungie makes it sound like. And another thing to keep in mind is what happened with D1 towards the end of its life cycle when they released Ages of Triumph, right? Remember, they got rid of Fatebringer for a while, and they got rid of Vision of Confluence, all those raid weapons, everything, Found Verdict, all of it. And they eventually brought them back with adept forms that were exotic, and they had little tweaks to the guns to make them better. Now, if this update is anything like D1's update was, it means to me that these guns will go out of existence for a while, or out of the meta, and then they will come back into the meta at a later date if Bungie decides to tweak them or bring them back in some shape or form. Maybe, if you're lucky, they'll even add an adept form of your favorite gun if the community liked it that much, like we did Fatebringer and all those other guns. Abyss Defiant. Now, I'm not going to deny that I am personally a little concerned with how Bungie is going to handle pinnacle weapons, and this is where I am a little bit jaded on this topic, because I really don't know where Bungie needs to go with this, and I don't think a lot of people do right now either. But what I can say right now is that fortunately Bungie is being very open to the community about our feedback, and they're taking our feedback and actually manipulating the game. We've seen this just recently with the light debacle with Trials of Osiris. They've actually removed your artifact giving you light benefits over other players. So now it's still going to be your light, it matters, but your artifact is not going to boost you over people because you have more time investment than the next guy. Simply put, at this current point in time, Bungie has earned my trust that they will fix whatever needs to be fixed regarding pinnacle weapons before they actually implement this patch. But it is something to take into consideration, because what I hear mostly is that people are just angry about most weapons. Now, they did also say that in the future they do plan on doing this with exotics, at least from what I've heard. However, they aren't going to implement it at the same time they do the legendary weapon lifetimes. Now, what I'm going to say to you guys in regards to this update is to try to keep an open mind about it, right? A lot of people are panicking because their favorite weapons are going to be taken away, ones that they have ticked off in their checkbox, as Bungie puts it. And believe it or not, that checklist is pretty much incredibly small as far as Crucible goes. In Bungie's minds, it doesn't make sense to continue making new legendaries like every season that are going to fall by the wayside because people prefer to use spare rations, mindbenders, beloved, whatever your preferred legendaries are at that time, forever. There's no reason for you to go out and try to get the new, Kill Clip Outlaw hand cannon that comes out because you already have a spare rations and it's just as competitive. And if you think about it from a business perspective, it's essentially just a sunk cost for Bungie. They're making all of these new guns and all of these new items, but people are clinging on to things from 2 or 3 years ago when D2 Vanilla was launched. They're still using the Midnight Coups, the Inaugural Address, the Chattering Bone. I mean, that gun's only like a year old now, but still. The fact that it's lasting forever, the fact that these guns last forever, essentially makes the effort that Bungie puts forth into creating new content for people pointless. It's not fun for them, and it's not good for the community because the community gets dried up. If you have the guns checked off in your checklist, you're not going to be looking for new things. You already have the best. You have the meta. There's no reason to go beyond that unless you want to, try to use a thin line for some reason. So, as we Americans put it, yes, Bungie is coming for your guns. They are going to try to take your guns. And as a matter of fact, it sounds to me like they are going to take your guns. And right now, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Whether you leave Destiny or not over this is completely up to you. And maybe you come back in a couple months, weeks, years, and you actually find that you enjoy the new implementation of this weapon lifespan. And maybe this is me just trying to sit here and diffuse this situation, but I do think that once this is actually dropped, people will not only enjoy Destiny more because they're going to be looking for new things every 9 to 15 months. You're going to find new metas. You're going to find all kinds of new guns that are probably outside your liking. Like, you might like a hand cannon right now and you never use scouts. There could be an amazing scout on the horizon that you would have never dreamed you would have liked. But because Bungie can shift metas pretty much at will with content then, you're able to try that scout and find it just as good as a hand cannon. Simply put, I do think when this update comes out, it is not going to be nearly as bad as people think. I know a lot of people were really angry in D1 about not being able to bring exotics forward, and maybe Bungie does have the solution for that finally. And I know people were mad about the legendaries in Destiny 1 Vanilla as well. But again, they can bring back iterations of that gun. There's nothing stopping them from doing it. If the community wishes it, Bungie is listening. It can happen. They did it in Ages of Triumph. There's nothing stopping them from making another Ages of Triumph in D2, and maybe they will. And another thing that I just thought of right now is that doing this is going to allow Bungie a lot more creative freedom than what they've been working in right now. Basically, what's happening is that Bungie is creating these new weapons, and they have to also now be compared to old guns, whether it be from Vanilla D2 up to Forsaken, Forsaken up to Shadowkeep, whatever it is. All those guns are still with us. And if you haven't noticed, running wild in the Crucible are spare rations and mindbenders. Those guns have been around for a pretty long time now. So whenever Bungie makes new weapons, they're always being compared to mindbenders and spare rations. And as long as those guns exist, every new gun will be compared to them because right now, they are the best. They have been the best since they've been around. People just took a little bit to figure it out because, we had the Recluse meta not too long ago, and at that point, it was the best. And honestly, Recluse has pretty much faded into the background altogether, and I don't see anyone complaining about that anymore. I don't think it would really be any different if, your Mindbender and spare rations kind of faded off. You'll find new things that you like just like that. And in doing that, I think 9 times out of 10, the community would honestly be happier because they'll have more things on their checklist to check off more often, right? There's more to do in the game beyond getting your spare rations and Mindbenders and just sitting on them because they're the best or waiting for them to get nerfed, which is another thing that I think Bungie is having to do because of all of this power creep that's been happening with these guns that people have been using forever. They have to keep nerfing them rather than making them better because they just are at the ceiling. They've been at the ceiling. They always have been. So the only thing that's left is to nerf them into the ground. Now, I will say, when it comes to the last word and sniper nerf that's coming, I don't necessarily know that on console, the last word is worth nerfing any more than it is right now. And I won't say on PC that snipers are worth nerfing at all. but that's just my opinion, of course. Now, lastly, before I end this video, I want to know what you guys think. I know that I'm a part of the minority in the community, and I want to hear what you guys think down in the comments. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and I would seriously love to be as educated as possible on this, and maybe I could get in touch with somebody at Bungie. I know I'm small, but maybe I could, and maybe they would hear me out. Again, I want to hear you guys down in the comments. Tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm right, and tell me why. That's the biggest thing. I want to know why you guys think what you think, so that maybe I could find a better middle ground. But anyways, as always, guys, I do hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was a bit of a rant, but I do hope you enjoyed. And if you stuck around this long, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, be sure to subscribe down below. Join our Discord down in the description. And if you guys want to, you can watch me live at www.twitch.tv/Fpsplasma. I stream there a lot, pretty much daily now. And we have a lot of fun. So I would love to see you guys around there if you did enjoy this. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for me for this video today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.